Five. All right, pretty women hustle. Oh my goodness. We are here for the author live chat. I am so glad you're here with me, joining me for our very special series dedicated to the journey of becoming an author. Um, in this series, we will discuss the process of becoming an entrepreneur from beginning to end. Everything you've ever wanted to know to creating your book, to letting your story be told, is in our series. If you are new here, I am Jakia Cheatham, Myles, the founder and creator of Pretty Woman Hustle, a platform dedicated to highlighting and promoting women doing extraordinary things in business and in faith. Oh, today I have a treat for you. Today we have Phoenix Q Brown, a young woman who has dealt with multiple traumas by the people who she thought were supposed to protect her. The fight for her life began at an early age, and the story of most Black families also became her own. Little did Phoenix know that little seeds planted would give her the ability to hope, and the biggest struggles would be the journey of finding self love. Phoenix gives insight to everyone's experience, someone's trauma, and hopefully the resiliency to survive. This book will surely begin to give you the courage to hope, to cope, achieve, and have compassion for those fighting to survive. Amazing, Phoenix.
Thank
Oh,
you.
that's amazing. Tonight, we are live and discussing all things entrepreneurship. If you have ever had a thought of writing a book and sharing your story, this episode is for you. We will dig deep with Phoenix and discover what it took to create this amazing book. Phoenix is an author, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her book that is going to amaze you. Listen here. The myth says that a phoenix will live 4,000 years before it dies by self destructing combustible flames and reemerge from the ashes. The mask of this creature is that we don't know the journey it had to endure before rebirth. All we know is what we see and what story is told about their unique transformations. Its journey is similar to Phoenix in how the beauty is present, but no one knows the story of how she rose from a life of struggles to becoming a productive member of society. Phoenix takes you on a ride inside her very low self esteem and life lessons that took her years to understand her own beauty. Phoenix struggled with complex trauma, but did not let it defeat her progression through life. Phoenix is motivation for those who feel lost, don't know what purpose they serve, finding themselves and want to find resolution. Phoenix will inspire those not to become a product of their environment, but to challenge themselves into making their own path despite circumstances. Phoenix will also inspire those to have will and determination in seeking happiness. Her life is how a young lady survived, not having a lot of self love, and was determined to break the cycle of what looked like lost hope. This diamond in the rough is sure to prove that life is not always the way you want it. Okay. But she had the final say in what her life would become. Sometimes the tools of survival are not always given to you. Sometimes you have to work with the tools you have until the right doors open up. What you will discover the most about Phoenix is that although she was dealt a bad hand, she didn't always make the best decisions. She never gave up on herself. And learning to love herself was one of the hardest things to conquer. Oh my goodness, Phoenix. Oh my goodness. This book, okay? Number one, I have to read it. I have to pass this on to somebody else because look, your story.
Yes, ma'am. It is definitely a story.
Oh my goodness. I've heard of people, writing memoirs, writing inspirational books, but the way you put it, the way, wow, I'm excited to dig deep tonight. I'm excited.
I'm excited just to be here, so I appreciate it and sharing a little bit
Yes.
about my story and the writing process.
First things first. How did you develop an interest in writing? How do we get there?
I think it's just always been there. So as a kid, and I don't know if I can't even remember if I put it in the book, but I don't think I did. So as a kid, I was always writing about any and everything, especially anything that was truth about what was going on. The biggest thing that I used to write a lot was poetry. So I like writing poetry, but
Ooh.
I like poetry. It has to be what I've discovered as I, got older. It's always something meaningful. It's always something that has to connect with something either I've been exposed to, experienced, or saw, or just something that's very meaningful, if that makes sense.
Yes, totally. And that is so believable because even in your wordplay of how your summary goes, you can
Mhm.
see the poetry come out. You can see the way you mix with the words, the way that goes. Like even your comparison from a phoenix and you, like, oh my goodness, I get that. So yeah, I can see how poetry could have influenced you. When did you realize you had a story that the world needed to hear that was beyond just writing poetry?
I had to have some people in my ear
Okay.
really say, you got a story to tell. Why don't you just tell your story? It's something that I've always wanted to do, but I was fearful of sharing my story. Because if you read my story and all the stuff that's in it, there was still some shame, some guilt, some things in there, and then the fear of hurting my loved ones, was there, and also the thought of, what makes me. I had to really ask myself, what makes me different from anybody else? Why would anybody want to read my book? I'm pretty sure people that heard this, that, and the other, and they said somebody had to really say to me, but it's your story.
Right. It's
And
yours.
and just because other people have written stories that may be similar to what they're going through, is still your story. Who's to say that you might be that person that they can identify with? You may be that person that can, implement something for them that may, change, give them hope. So I had to really dwell on that, and even also conquer my fear of even telling my story. So I had began to write. I actually started writing years ago, and I kept putting it down, picking it back up, putting it back down, picking it back up. And actually, this book is one of three. So I'm currently writing a
Wow.
second one. Yeah. So this first one kind of chronicles my life up until the age of 18, from the earliest age I can remember up until 18 years of age. And the second one is going to pick up in my young adult years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So this is just the foundation. Got you.
absolutely. It's just the beginning. And if you don't mind me sharing a little bit more.
Of course, keep going.
Um, and I did it that way because I can only do so much.
Yeah.
Only do so much. And I wanted that to hit a particular audience, for that age range. But I wanted to make it's going to be a trilogy. Um, and
Right.
that trilogy kind of breaks up from, because I didn't begin my healing journey until well after I had my children. I
Okay.
was in my early 30s.
Mm. So it
So
took
in
some
all
time.
honesty, I'm 43 now, but I'll be 44 next month. So it wasn't until my early 30s when I really began the healing journey. So there was still more stuff that I went through in my young adulthood, just transitioning over into that part because I hadn't began to heal yet. So I
Right.
figure if I this, do it this way, you can see where I came from and really go along with me, in my journey and the process. And you can see where some things were planted in my life, but there was a lot of things that I had to go through. And getting to this end of it and looking back gives me those, it was there, but nobody really nurtured, I will say,
Right.
those little seeds that were planted. And I didn't know how to nurture them myself.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
but I'm hoping that this book will allow somebody to read it, and they'll know what to do moving forward. Hopefully it'll hit home for them and help them grow in some ways.
Right. So this book serves as, of course, a healing tool for you, but it's also serving as healing for someone else, or
Yeah.
that stepping stone, that tool for the next, to be able
Yeah.
to, like, what, this doesn't stop you. You may relate to this story, but I want you to go further. I want you to pick up and tell your story. So you're kind
Right.
of passing the torch to those who are reading it. So I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't want nobody to feel like they're alone.
Yeah,
So
definitely. I see that. What was the writing process like? Did you come up with the title first, and or did
I
you
did
build around the manuscript? What happened?
I did the writing first.
Okay.
The title came later. I felt like I had to do the writing first, and it was hard. So as I mentioned before, I write some, I put it down,
Hmm.
come back to it later. And when I mean later, it probably be like months later.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. When I say I started a long time ago, I literally started years ago. And I would put it down, write some things, put it down, come back to a month later. It's been a time where I didn't get back to it until a year later. And it was hard. It was when you're writing an autobiography and a story of this magnitude, it can be triggering. So sometimes I would be triggered by the things that I was sharing. And for my own sanity, I knew when had to set boundaries for myself, saying, like, okay, that's enough. I'll come back to it later.
Yes, that makes sense. I mean, when you're writing and healing, writing,
Yeah.
living those traumas, to have to stop is normal. I mean, so this is therapeutic. And I hope at the end of this, you were able to say, you know what? Hey, I did it. I told this story.
Hmm.
I let the world know. Um, so wow, I get that. I get having to put that down.
I mean, it was therapeutic to write it down, but like I said, those nerves, that fear, that sometimes I was crying at times,
Ooh,
just writing. And it's like, in all honesty, before I began writing, I used to act like none of the stuff that is in there happened to me ever.
wow.
I
Wow.
didn't want to really discuss it. I didn't really want to. I wanted to tell, but I didn't want to tell people what I've been through. It was the fear of judgment.
Ooh, I get that.
It was the fear of judgment. So, but it was really challenging. It was really difficult. I could sit here and write a poem. I could write anything else, but it was hard for me to write my own story.
Right. I mean, and would you say that writing it, did it was it because that when you wrote it, it made it be like, okay, you know what? This is real. I can't hide this anymore.
Yeah,
So writing it made it real for you. Got it.
absolutely.
Got it.
Absolutely. And then it's reliving.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like reliving, these incidents all over again. But it absolutely was therapeutic in the end when it was done. But during the process, it wasn't that it wasn't that fun. It wasn't fun
I
during the process.
bet.
Not at all.
But it was worth it.
Very much so. Very
Yeah.
much so. So I know we're kind of talking about some things, and I don't want to jump the gun and just talking about everything, but it was a it got to I'm at a place and point now that I'm fearless in sharing the next
Ooh,
journey.
wow. See, that's a place to be.
Yeah.
When you're
So,
fearless, when you're
hmm
like, you know what? Here's
Mhm.
my story. Take it.
Yep.
That's
So that
power.
so absolutely it was very therapeutic, and I needed to do it.
Yeah,
I
that's
needed
power.
to. Hmm. So I can't
Awesome.
wait to share the rest of what I've been through, because no matter what I've been through, it shaped and molded me to where I am now, which I'm very much proud of.
Right. So you can say your story was necessary.
Yes.
Everything you've been through is necessary. Yes. What is the message behind your title? So when someone reads that title, what is the message? What do you want them to take away before they even read the summary? What do you want them to know?
I want them to, and you said it actually already when you introduced me. I want them to hope,
Yeah.
begin coping
Yeah.
in order for them to achieve.
Beautiful. Yes. See,
Yeah.
that's a lesson.
Yes.
Yes.
Very much a lesson. Something I had to learn and
Yeah.
still continue to work on. So that's an ongoing thing. It's an
Can
ongoing
you share three takeaways you would like women specifically to take away from your
thing.
book?
Mm. Do not let your circumstances um, determine your future.
Oh,
The
yeah.
second one, I would say, do not be afraid of being the flight risk.
Now that's a good
Hmm. And I think the third one is, we as women, we wear many hats, and this one is something that you people probably hear all the time, especially women. We wear many hats, but make sure you loving on yourself first.
one. Love on you.
Yep, you have to take care of you first. So if you're not taking care of you, how can you take care of everyone else?
Ain't that the truth?
And then you're allowing people just to take from you, but you got to make sure you're pouring into yourself
Yeah.
before you allow others to take from you, or you're giving to others, no matter what it is. But that
That was
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, that was great. Keep going because those are three key takeaways. Literally, I mean to have a book, and for you to say, yeah, this is what I want you to get. I want you to understand that, you know what, it's okay to be a flight risk. It's okay
Hmm.
for for you to go through what you go through. It's okay for there to
Hmm.
be a little something to it. Okay,
Yes.
nobody's perfect, but
Nobody.
that's not the end all be all.
Not at all. Not at all.
So
You
yeah,
determine your
amazing.
eternal outcome.
Yeah. Um, at any moment during your writing process, and I know you touched on this earlier where you said you had to put it down sometimes.
Hmm.
But did you experience writer's block where it was like, okay, you know what, nothing else is coming to me. You know what? Let me take a moment. I don't have nothing else I can.
That's a really good question. Um, I don't think I really. Well, I guess I did at some point. Writer's block. I guess this would be called a writer's block. Um, when you're trying to remember everything, and it might. There was a point. I remember there was something that happened. It was one of the stories I was trying to convey in there, and I couldn't remember everything of what happened that led up to one incident.
Okay.
So I don't know if that would be considered a writer's block in
Yeah.
in in that type of instance, but yeah, there was, and I had to reach out to a family member to get more detail as to what happened in one of the incidents that occurred.
Okay, so
Um,
you have to tap into the people around you.
yeah, yeah, and it's quite funny. Before also when I before I published my book, I called everybody and asked their permission.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. How was that?
I was scared. I thought I was gonna get a no, but surprisingly, they were supportive. They said it was good.
Wow.
They say that's your story. Tell it. My brother though, he refuses to read it.
Okay.
But he was the first one. He bought 3 copies and
He's
shared them.
just like, I can't read that though.
He said, I don't want to read it. He said, I don't want to read it. He's like, because I don't want to be angry. And he
Yeah,
was
I
like,
get it.
but I'm proud of you.
Oh.
He um bought 3 books. Yeah,
See, so to have that support system,
yeah,
amazing, amazing.
yeah.
Since you said that, family supported you in that moment.
Mhm.
Take me through the first moment you held your book in your hands. What did that feel like for you?
It was mixed emotions. Like I was excited, like, oh my God, I'm officially an author now. Oh my
Yeah,
God, this is my book. This is my work. This is me. But I also cried.
yeah.
I was still scared.
Hmm.
What are people going to think and say? Because remember, I said I walked around and acted like nothing, not snooty or snobbish or anything of that nature, but I just never really told people what I went through. People see me for the most part, and people already assume, they already judge you, or they already have this preconceived notion about who you are and what they think you might have been through or think you've never been through.
Right.
And it's like you have no idea. I feel like sometimes I've been through hell and back.
And around the corner again.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. And so it's just that fear of, what are people going to say now they see that I done been through all these different things. And come to find out, some people start to speak up and say, I've been through this, I've been through that too.
Wow.
And congratulations, I'm proud of you. You are brave for telling your story. And I've gotten people have called and said, I want to write, I've influenced them to write their story.
Oh,
So it
so
has
that
made
has
me
to be
feel,
fulfilling.
yes, it is. But back to the question, I had so many mixed emotions when I held my book in my hand for the very first time. It was happiness, sadness, crying, um, fear, that anxiety came
Of
over me.
course. But that's
Uh,
to be expected. This is a big
yeah,
story. This is
yeah,
a big book. This
yeah,
isn't this isn't just you telling a story out of thin air.
yeah,
This is you. This is your story. This is your diary.
yeah.
This is a part of you. So you're letting the world into a piece of you. So I get that.
I know. And I was just like, but it was just like an open book, and I had to be very careful in my story too. I cut a lot of stuff out
Mhm.
that I was exposed to because then it would bring other people's stories in there, and I didn't want to go that route. I just wanted to focus on me and what my
Yeah.
direct, um, the things that I've been through. So um, personally, but it was I got overwhelming support from my family to the people that I work with to the people that I'm friends with. I mean,
That's
they made it easy for me. They
well,
made it
that's a
easy for me.
blessing. That's a
Yeah,
blessing.
yeah.
What would you say was the most challenging part of the writing process? I know we said, having to go through it and write and put it down and deal with those tough moments, but what else would you say is the most challenging?
Proofreading it
Oh, okay.
when we had to go back through it and edit the work
Yeah.
and me reading over it. It was the most heart wrenching thing because I could barely read it
Yeah.
without crying.
So I have to do it over and over again. Yeah, I bet that was, whew.
Yeah, yeah. That was the most challenging for me
Okay. I can see that.
because now everything was real now. it's time to get ready to get it published, and it was like, and then I'm reading my own story. And then again, like I was telling you, it wasn't that situation where I can put it down, come back to it a month or several months or a year, later, in my writing. So now it's like, it's here.
Yeah, it's here.
I gotta read it in its entirety. And sometimes I had to read it again. I had to get, I was at the end, to get it published. And so I had to read it. That was the toughest.
Wow.
That was the toughest.
What key tips do you have for marketing your book and getting it out to the masses? Let's talk specifically
Oh,
for
um,
somebody who is writing something, personal, memoirs, biographies, stuff like that. How do you market that?
so how I market it is through social media, of course. Um, your friends and family, word of mouth. I advertise through Amazon. Um, I've got these postcards like made up with the front and back cover of my book, so you'll be able to read what my book is about. And I get those, and I should have had one in front of me to show you, but I get those sent out to different businesses. I do some of the sometimes I do pop-up shops.
Nice.
Sometimes, yep, and I call libraries and set up events there, or they may have an event going, and I join in that. You know, I join in some of their events. I also contact some of the bookstores and different things like that. So that's how I have been marketing. I did self-publishing, semi self-publishing, if you want to call it, because I still had a couple of people that help navigate me through the self-publishing, self-publishing my book. But if you go through major publishers, I mean, they have that capability of, mass marketing your book for you. The only thing about that is you got to have the money for it.
Right.
So I was getting, quotes of $5,000, $6,000 here, $8,000, $9,000 here, and different things like that. And I just said, no.
I get you.
I'm gonna go ahead and sell this out my trunk. But you know how they used to do CDs or tapes back in the day.
I, I get it. I get it.
So no, so I do it that way. I have the luxury and of being part of a sorority,
Oh,
so
awesome.
so I can filter through that a little bit. And so even now, like I think I told you earlier, I have 3 children, and all 3 of my children are adults. I have one that attends Morgan State University, and I have another one that attends Tennessee State University.
Okay.
So what I'm getting ready to do now is try to find, link with different either bookstores or libraries there, and try to do events there. So even just doing that, you know,
Yeah.
so different things like that. But I mail out some of my postcards to different places for them to call back, especially if they're interested, or letting them know that I'm interested in either partnering with them or hosting um, either a book signing event of that nature with them.
Okay. So writing memoirs, biographies, etc., is definitely something you can market. So
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
great insight.
Yep.
What audience? Oh, keep
Yeah.
going.
Oh, I was just saying, and then also, even on social media, linking with certain book clubs as well.
Oh, good idea.
Yep, linking with certain book clubs, doing things like that. I have been um, a guest speaker at several events. So I'm trying putting myself out there. You just have to really put yourself out there.
Okay.
And the question I heard you getting ready to come to is the audience. That's also plays a major key.
Yes. See, I'm trying to get all the knowledge.
That plays a major part in that as well.
Okay.
Making sure you know identify who your audience is. My audience is for everybody.
Ooh, nice.
So I don't
So you got
have
a good
the
playing field.
yeah, my audience is for everyone. It is for children. It is for young adults. It is for older adults. It is for anyone that has experienced any form of trauma.
Okay.
Okay. It is for anyone that dealt with issues with their family. Is for anyone that thought they could trust and that certain people they could trust and that trust was broken. It is for anyone that's ready to heal and don't know how. It
Nice.
is it is anyone that needs some form of motivation. So that's who it's for. My audience is very broad. Um, it's not it's not for one particular
Okay.
area of people. Yeah, not for one group.
So you touched on it a little bit. You said like book clubs online, things
Hmm.
like that. So how else are you currently using social media?
Oh my God, I have so I have my Phoenix Q Brown page.
Okay.
Um, and I have that open. So trying to post and make myself a little bit more relevant. I'm trying to get better with it. So I'm really, in all honesty, I'm camera shy. So
No.
I'm even nervous as we're talking now. I've gotten better at it a little bit, but I'm still nervous.
Wow.
Yeah, camera shy. But I've been kind of I won't say forcing myself, but challenging myself to do more as far as even taking pictures, posting up things, um, saying things. Well, even doing videos.
Okay.
So I'm trying a little more, but
I mean, hey,
I'm
it's
kind of
work.
shy.
It's work.
And my daughter, she helps me a little bit because she like it's about the angles, it's about this. You got to make sure. I'm like, oh my god, it
But at
helps.
least you have that. At least you have somebody who's like, do it this way.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and she had some marketing classes while she was she took some college courses while she was in high school marketing, and she's a business major now, and so she helps me a little bit.
Oh, that's good.
Hmm.
That's a blessing.
Not a whole lot though, because she sometimes she asks me to pay her, but that's a
Oh,
whole nother conversation.
that's how it goes. Share with us the people or companies that helped create your amazing project.
Um, Warren S. Galloway and Mr. Curtis Brown were the two people who helped me with far as getting my book published. They were the ones who um, also they edited as well, edited um,
Nice.
and navigated me in, especially Warren Galloway, um, in helping me do the self publishing. So those were the two people. Warren S. Galloway is actually one of my fraternity brothers, and Curtis Brown, I think, is just a friend of his. But they have their own, I guess, publishing, self-publishing company. Mr.
Okay.
Galloway, I think he has
Nice.
about 10 to 12 books of his own, and but he's doing phenomenal. He's doing well. He's doing phenomenal. But they were very instrumental in helping me with the publishing piece. So I think you have to really identify what is your targeted goal? What is your goal as far as your book? Um, and how you want it done. So I decided I want to go the route of self-publishing. But I did know that's going to be more challenging, a little bit more difficult, a little bit more hands-on with the work in promoting your own book. But like I said, if you go through a one of the publishing companies, they have, more access, but you're going to pay for
Fair
that
money.
resource. Yep.
Yeah.
So it just have to depend. So it just depends on what you want to do. If you're willing to do the work, put in the effort and the work, then go and it's a cheaper route. I'm gonna go just be honest. Then do the self publishing. But if you want something and you need it instantaneously to get out there in a massive way, then yeah, go through a
Company.
publishing company. Yep.
Tell us the 5 misconceptions people have about becoming an author that you heard.
5 misconceptions.
Yeah.
Um, I think 5 misconceptions would be one that writing is easy.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that.
Because that's not always. I don't even care if you're a writer. Sometimes you have you may have some struggles, and it may not always be easy.
Right.
Um, Two, another misconception would be that that there's no benefit in writing. It definitely is a benefit in writing. Um, no matter if the story has been told before, the difference is it's your story,
Right.
so tell it anyway. Um, Three, another misconception of writing. Oh my goodness gracious, would be I don't know. I don't know. So I give you five. Gotta give you three more.
I mean, you hit on two good ones, though. You hit on two good ones. You said that a big one that you said was that it's easy because everybody's story isn't easy.
No, it's not. Everybody's
Um,
doing
so yeah, if you think you're getting into it and it's gonna be a piece of cake, it may
yeah.
not be. So
Um. Oh, I don't know.
you're
Can I
good.
come back to that question?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're good. You gave two good ones. You gave two excellent ones. I mean, the misconceptions. I mean, even me, I've heard that once you write your book, it's just out there. You know what I mean? But it doesn't have to be that way
It doesn't.
because, like you said, marketing plays a key role.
It absolutely does.
Putting yourself out there
Mm-hmm.
and seeing where you fit. And something that you said that I never even thought of was, the book clubs online. See where you fit in. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Suggest your book, anything like that, and that's a way to get good feedback too.
Oh, I got that. I want to say that there is not an audience for you. It's always an audience
Ooh,
for, for
always.
you. Yep. There's always an audience. Um. Okay, I got two more. I'm gonna come back to you on those.
Okay. Where do you hope to see your book next?
As a next bestseller,
It's coming.
um,
It's coming.
New York, what
Speaking.
is it called? New York Times bestseller.
Yeah.
And I would love to see my books more so in schools as well,
Okay.
or in the hands. And when I say schools, I mean as far as middle school all the way through college, especially college students studying social work, counseling, um, that are studying anything psychiatry, psychologists, anybody that's studying in that field. I would like my books to be used in order to help with those that are going into that interest, that field.
Oh,
Okay.
nice, nice.
Um, I think it would be beneficial in them learning the different um, learning about just the different behaviors, learning about the different things, traumas that people are exposed to, or I was exposed to, but using it as examples in order, how can you support, how can you teach, how can you show people to cope from these different things that they've been exposed to and they've experienced. Um, and I don't even know if I told you, but I am a behavioral health specialist.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I work in the mental health field. Um,
Nice.
I recently got promoted actually in January, so now I'm a supervisor. a
That's
behavioral supervisor.
awesome.
But I went from being a clinical therapist to a behavioral health actual supervisor now. Um, so so that's why I have that passion or want. That's my books to be in school, especially with college students that is coming into this field.
Because
I
you
don't
want
mind
to.
that they right dissect it as much as you want to or need to, because I
Yeah.
need for them to be able to come into this field and be ready to be exposed to a lot of different things that people have dealt with, these underlying causes and issues and these behaviors and thoughts that they have.
Yeah. Nice goals. It'll happen. Totally, totally.
Yeah.
If you could go through this process all over again, is there anything you would change? And I mean, actually, you're going through the process again because you're writing book two. So,
Yes,
is there anything you would change this time around?
absolutely. I would do it sooner.
Okay, you would have done it sooner.
I would have probably. I think I would, if I could, or I would have did it sooner. I think that's my only regret about even writing the book at all. I think that's the only thing I would change is
Doing it.
yeah, doing it sooner. But sometimes it was just my time.
Yeah,
It was just my time. That's it.
love that. If you would go back, we're gonna go back to
Okay.
um when you talked about the misconceptions.
Hmm.
I'm gonna put it another way. What would you say to someone coming to you off the street saying, you know what, Phoenix, your story touched me.
Hmm.
I have a story. What do I do?
I would say start writing, start journaling, start writing. What is it that you think about? The first thing, what is your purpose and reason for sharing your story?
Okay.
Um, and then when you have that purpose and your reason, then start journaling. Matter of fact, write that down too. What your reason, your purpose is for sharing, wanting to tell your story. I think is beneficial because when you get challenged with writing or getting scared or afraid, becoming anxious or anything like that, you look back at your purpose. So, and it's something about writing it down and seeing it and reading it sometimes makes a big difference because now you're getting out your head and now you're putting it on paper. But I would tell them, go ahead and begin, start. You don't have to start with a title first. I didn't. My
Right.
title, my title came last, and I'll share with you where the title came from. Um, but just write, start writing. Know your purpose and your reason, and just start writing. And don't stop until you feel like you want to stop writing.
Yes. Just right. And don't stop.
Yep.
Yeah,
Don't
until you
stop.
feel like you fulfilled that purpose, your purpose for writing. I love that. I love that. Um, Thank you, first off. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being vulnerable in this moment. Thank you for taking us through your walk and creating your book, and letting us in, being so transparent. I appreciate that. My final question for you would be, what is your definition of a pretty woman who hustles?
Mm. My definition of a pretty woman who hustles is a person that just don't give up.
Yeah,
It's a process, but it's a person that does not give up on their hopes and their dreams, their aspirations.
yeah,
Um, Standing firm on what they believe in.
yes,
Um, Knowing that just because you're beautiful or pretty on the outside, you still have to have that same type of energy and feeling on the inside.
totally.
So that has to spill over. So
Yeah,
a pretty woman that hustles, that means you are doing what you were called to do. That means you
yeah,
are walking in your purpose. That means you are living your best life to your ability, your potential. That means you are not afraid of being the flight risk.
You're not afraid of being a flight risk. I love it. I love it. Again, I say thank you. For those listening in, newcomers, people who are gonna go back and view, I want you to go grab this book. Grab it. Rush over to Amazon. Go to phoenixqbrown.com. Grab this book. If you are someone who has dealt with trauma in the past, if you are someone in the process of healing, if you know somebody who has went through something, if you know somebody who has went through those generational cycles, if you know someone who needs just a little push to heal from their past traumas, this book is for you. Grab it.
Yes.
phoenixqbrown.com. Grab it.
And if
This
you guys
book,
want to send me, I'm sorry, I was
no,
going to
no,
say,
keep going.
if you want to send me a message, you are more than welcome to send me messages. Ask any question that you want to ask. I am an open book.
Yes, because I believe this book is going to serve as a tool to heal
Yes.
not only us but the next generation.
Yeah.
So I'm claiming it for you. I am speaking it for you. I'm praying that for you, that this book, although it helped in your journey of healing, there's so many of us that need to heal, and there's so many to come that is going through something right now and they don't know that they need healing yet. In this book is going to serve that purpose. um I'm faith related. I'm a Christian, so for me, I believe everything that happens is for a purpose. God preordained it. God knew ahead before you even came. He knew what was going to take place, and although it was rough then, it was necessary. As I said earlier, it was necessary, and it may not have been necessary for what you may see now, but it could be for your kid. It could be for saving something for your daughter in the future. It could be something that's saving for your grandchildren. So I'm believing this book is going to aid someone. Somebody listening in needs this. And so I hope somebody listening in that you're able to hear something tonight. I'm hoping that you take something away and say, let me go grab this book. There's a book that you need to read. Someone you walk past and you see somebody struggling. Say, hey, Phoenix Q Brown has a book that is for you. And and so I am hoping that this book blesses you that's listening in. I'm ready to go grab my copy because I know people who need to heal. I need to heal. We are not above healing. So I'm so grateful for this conversation.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here. I really am. Um, and again, the book is to hope, to have people hope, cope, and achieve.
Hope, cope, and achieve. Wow.
Absolutely. And not be afraid of being the flight risk.
Don't be afraid to be a virus. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you all for listening in. We will see you soon with another amazing episode of the Author Chat series. Go rewatch it. When we post this on YouTube, make sure you share, make sure you tag somebody who can identify with this episode. Thank you for watching with us. Thank you for being a part of our family. I love y'all, Pretty Woman Hustle, and stay tuned for what's next.